Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours? Today I have with me someone who said that I can lose 30 kgs in 3 days in my dreams. She believes that the best way to stay healthy is to bring about a holistic change in one's lifestyle rather than running behind fad diets. Just eating right is not enough, but an overall change in one's daily schedule is to be made. To know more about nutrition and the impact on our life, let me welcome today's guest, Saili Velankar. Hi, Saili, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good too. How has your life been so far? I heard we had planned the entire podcast quite early, but now you have transitioned to another country altogether. How is the
All
transition?
together. Yeah, it's going good. Only the weather is a challenge here, but apart from that, everything is fine.
Yes, it's a refrigerator. I have been told. My mom keeps telling that you don't have to invest in one. आंगन में जाके आप सब सामान रख सकते हो और फिर वहां से लेके आ सकते हो. कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं
Yeah, it's not that gloomy for us, but it is okay. Fine. We are trying to cope up with it, so it's okay.
Finally, you're adjusting. Finally, you have adjusted and you've decided to come on the podcast. I'm really glad. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
I made you wait like a long time, but it's
Yes,
okay.
actually, so the nutritionist
I
I was
was
talking
helpless.
about on my post, that was this one. Yes, we had asked questions ages ago, and we are going to answer them right now.
Oh, right now. So let's do it better.
Yes. Saili, I would like to begin the episode by asking you
Okay.
what helped you decide to pursue this journey of becoming a nutritionist?
Okay. So it's moreover like a career journey, like not a career journey, but it's moreover my own personal journey rather than the career. It came very later in the life. So as a kid, I've always had an autoimmune disease called urticaria. It's a skin disease basically, so which I've had as a kid. I never knew what it was, or I never knew also that it was an autoimmune thing. But I discovered it pretty late in the life when I started, taking my medical school. So that is how I realized that I've had an autoimmune disease in the childhood, and maybe on and off I might have certain episodes late in life as well. But then so that was my story as a kid. I've
Okay.
always been on the higher side of the weight till probably my 12th standard, you can say, or even till second year of my medical school. I was pretty obese, you can say.
Mhm.
So lately I also started getting PCOD as a part and parcel of it. Like it all comes in one go, like nothing develops overnight.
Okay.
And and then one fine day, like everybody, I also wanted to lose weight. And not one fine day, I was doing it every one fine year, you can say. Like everything I have tried almost on me first.
Uh-huh.
And then I started working out, and then maybe I started making better choices because I was staying out in Pune that time as a student. So whatever better options I could choose, I always tried to do that. And I tried to work out a little bit here and there. So I've made friends along the journey, and that's how basically that motivated me that many people need this as a combination of a doctor along with the nutrition studies, because even if your doctors know nutrition, it is very limited. It is not
Right.
that wide as a study or as a subject that we study it. So maybe I just started studying it along the way for myself, and for obviously some patients with autoimmune diseases that I was looking up around me while I was working with one of my professors.
Right.
So that's how I was motivated enough to do that. And then while I was studying, maybe I figured out that okay, this has a lot of sense in everybody's life, and if food could be your medicine in certain way, like not complete medicine, but if it can help you, then I guess there are very minimal diseases that really you will go back to medicines.
Correct.
Because if you can manage all of them through your food, I guess that is the healthiest way of dealing with it. Like, so that was my journey.
That is how you
probably.
started. So,
Exactly.
as you said, you changed your lifestyle, and that is how you were able to reverse this
Yes.
autoimmune disease to an extent.
Yes.
So, how has this holistic change in your lifestyle benefited you? Would you recommend that everyone
Okay.
follows it?
Yeah, of course. And right now, while I was studying in my last year, and we used to have a lot of people coming in and talking to us. So I remember one of my sir, he was telling us that this era, like if you want to be successful practitioners, what you have to focus is all the lifestyle disorders.
Right.
And in a way metabolic disorders, like one of them would be metabolic ones. So he said, if you want to really have a good practice, you have to study lifestyle disorders.
Okay.
The only reason being lifestyle has gone wrong with all of us.
Yes.
Like it's probably all the 90s kids, and henceforth we all have a bad lifestyle, and we all are we all are the result of bad lifestyle. So and holistic means it starts from when you sleep and how you sleep. That's basic. Or how you breathe, and are you subtle and calm while you breathe? Are you breathing to your fullest capacity? It starts from there. Holistic doesn't mean like tomorrow morning you will wake up and buy, like, visit the nearest Nature's Fresh and buy all the celery and gucci berries and all of that. Holistic doesn't start from there. Holistic starts from how you sleep. Are you enough sound while you sleep? Or it's 3 a.m. and somebody is probably texting you on WhatsApp, and you're still with that phone, probably searching under some other pillow and bringing it up to you and seeing what's happening. That's not the sleep what I mean. So it starts from that. It's very basic, but you have to make these changes. It is okay, I should ask you this. How many times do you think you chew your food? Like one bite. How many times do you think you chew your food on?
I know I was supposed
usually
to chew it for 32 times, but I don't count it. I've lost 4 of my teeth.
So whoever is on podcast today, you can do this small exercise. Like whenever you have your next meal, whatever it is, just try and figure out, like you and your family members, it is not more than 12. Like maximum you would find is 12 to 14. Like that's the maximum count I've ever gotten, like 3 years of whatever career I have.
Okay.
So it's bad because your mouth was given for a purpose and it has some help in the digestion system altogether.
Yes, that is true.
So it's not about you going on to salads and soups when it comes to holistic. It starts from whatever lifestyle you had, or wherever you are, you might be in the stage of study. Like I've always had clients who are like, bachelors and they're students. So they were not even allowed to cook. And they used to be like, how can we do this? So even I was in the same stage while I was doing all of it. I was in the same stage of my life where I was a student and I was not allowed to cook for where I was staying.
Exactly.
So whatever basic things you can do is you can improve your overall being, how you are as a person. Not every Instagram story should make change in your life. That happens. So your stress starts from that level.
Yes.
Like now as all of us, we have a lot of social media around us. So when I tell people that, I will be also giving you certain meditation schedules, and they're like, how does that matter? And I'm like, no, that does matter. Like
right.
it might not matter right now, but it will matter after 3 months. And that is what I want. So the basic thing is, I always feel oxygen is what we are going to, we live on or we thrive on. Now, COVID, everybody knows what pulse ox is and what oxygen pressure means, and oxygen tension is 95 and 100. And if it goes down, you have to go. All of us know this now.
Correct.
So that means we need a lot of oxygen in the body, and to do that, we should breathe in right and we should breathe out right. So if we are stressed entire day, our breathing has changed. So it starts from controlling your breathing pattern first of all, and that is not going to happen if you sit and start meditating for 1 hour. If I tell you to do that, next week you will say bye bye to me and you will
course, you
find
will
another
become.
person.
I would become very restless. For
Yeah,
some time.
exactly.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
because we cannot sit at one place for 1 hour.
No.
That is going to be a big time challenge for all of us now.
Oh, of course, I'm very jittery. I feel that now I'm very addicted to my phone. I mean, I don't know how many people will agree.
Yeah, all of
That
us.
they are.
All of us are.
So
We want
even
information.
all the time.
Unnecessary, but we want it.
Exactly. So even when I'm talking to you, I make sure that my phone is a little far away, because what happens is it has become a habit now, to take the phone and just check the notifications for no joy.
Yeah, unnecessarily.
Unnecessary. It's a reflex action. There is no notification on my phone. I know there's no buzzing, nothing has happened. But I want to see, did I get a message from somebody? Did I miss an email? Did I miss something that, could have changed my life?
Yeah, exactly.
Which it doesn't, honestly. And
yeah, exactly.
and when you speak about breathing, Saili, how can I controlling my breath all the time is what you're saying. How do I?
I am not saying all the time,
Okay.
When I ask my clients, I always say you start from doing 10 deep breaths, like 10 nice deep breaths early in the morning when you wake up. And when you go back to bed every day night, you start doing 10 deep breaths. Like deep breath, according to me, is nothing but at your own comfort. You breathe in to your fullest. You hold, if you can hold, great. If you can't hold, forget it. And then just slowly breathe out. That's it. That's what I mean. No pranayam, no technique, no sitting in certain posture, nothing. Do it in whatever posture you like. Because that temperament, you should develop the temperament of meditation. It is not going to come in one day.
Correct.
It is going to take years together to do that.
Yes.
So what you can do minimum is, because when you start doing this kind of breathing every day, you will see benefits of it.
Okay. So,
and whenever you're stressed next time, your body will automatically try to sit down and breathe.
Yes, true.
Because we all are running on, higher cortisol level throughout the day. Like throughout the night, because we don't sleep early, we are like awake unnecessarily. Sometimes, if it is out of work, it is okay. I understand. That's your bread and butter. Like, we cannot be coming in between that.
Exactly.
But somewhere you have to, like, for your bread and butter, if you're doing it, then somewhere that bread and butter is costing you more than what it should be.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So there's no point
but
doing
if you don't have your health, you cannot even have that bread and butter that you are so
exactly
running behind. What I take away from this is, one, try to sleep on time, which is unfortunately not happening because we are stuck to our phones, and also breathe as much as possible. Saili, I just wanted to ask you, so what are the major lifestyle changes that any common man should make right now? Like, not right now, of course, as you said, it is an eventual process. It should happen over maybe 6 months. But what are the lifestyle changes that we should make in our lives?
Okay. So first of all, try to have good sleep of at least 7 hours at a stretch in the night.
Okay.
And if not possible, maybe you can take 1 or 2 naps throughout the day if your nights are that bad. Like you cannot sleep for more than 5 hours in the night. Try to take a nap of at least 15-20 days throughout the day, anytime, whenever you have time, in whatever position, wherever you are. So that's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's irrespective of where you are. It's just that your mind or your brain needs to shut down for some time, and then you will be fine. Second is, ideally, if your sleep is concerned, it is good if you have nothing to do in the night. Maybe you should be sleeping around, say, 10:30 or 11. Or if not that, at least try to keep one time when you sleep every day. So that will be really helpful. That one time of going to bed and one particular time of waking up. That will help you a lot in setting up your biological clock in itself.
Correct.
So that helps you in improving your hormonal health a lot, because your hormones are all around your biological clock.
Okay.
So if you can improve that, keeping up one time is going to help you definitely. Second is at least doing 10 to 15 deep breaths every day, at least twice or thrice if you have time, thrice, nothing like that, but at least twice in a
Okay.
day. That's minimum. And moreover, after that your breathing is done, then if you spare some time, at least some good 30 minutes of exercise. It
Okay.
can be anything. Like it can be as simple as walking in your own living room. It's fine for me even if you do that, but then start doing something. It can be as simple as climbing stairs of your own building, maybe walking below in your own parking lot, or maybe on the terrace if you can. So it can be as simple as that, or just walking. And then if you don't have time for this 30 minutes throughout the day, maybe what you can do is you can start doing some activity every 1 or 2 hours for like 30 seconds at least. Like whenever you are doing any work, you can just wake up from your place, do some 10 rounds in your hall or living wherever you are, and like you're done. You can again go back to your work. Or whenever you're talking on phone over the call, maybe you can just start walking or do some 10 squats for like 10 seconds and it's done. Like in 20 seconds you will be done. So that way you can keep yourself active, because we all have become very sedentary, and this work from home thing is ruining that even more.
Yes. I think I'm the
So
only active person right now because since I'm talking on the podcast and I said, like, you should walk while talking on the phone. I cover my 10,000 steps. That is happening for sure.
exactly. Yeah. So if you can count the number of steps, nothing like that, but then it is okay. But then I always tell my clients that make sure you're going to do that exercise and then buy the watch to count the number of steps. Otherwise you will go and buy stuff and you won't use it, so there's no point doing all of it. So
No,
award yourself after doing all of this for a month.
everything is on your phone now. Even the steps are counted by the phone.
Yeah.
Just the phone is already
Exactly.
there. It's like an extension of my arm. So it's there. It counts
It's
the
there.
steps also. I am in,
Yeah. So your sleep, your breathing, and your exercise is 3.
Yes.
4th thing I always tell, it is little weird, but you should always have at least one hobby that you have always had as a kid. So it
Oh,
might be anything. It
okay.
might be painting, it might be singing, anything, any damn thing on the planet is fine. But then you should always keep at least 1 hour a week, or like 2 hours a week, where you go back to your hobby, because that was maybe your way of expression. That's how you've always, bursted your stress out in a way. So it can be anything. It can be literally anything. I mean, if you like cleaning, just do cleaning your own room or whatever it is. It can be that basic. So nothing like, playing squash and all of that fancy stuff. So very basic is also fine, but then just do it. Or maybe reading a book. So the Kindle is not going to give you that joy. I know the content is same, but maybe you can just go back to the book again.
I
See it
did.
once in a week. I should be like 1 hour a week should be fine for that. So 1 to 2 hours a week, you should always do that. That will always help you being yourself and
Correct.
being within, like, being in touch with your own self of what you want to go ahead with, and not be influenced by the social media. So as all of us are.
I agree because
And that's very important.
that is true. Last week only, I have this loft that is completely empty, and I wanted to do some kind of decor. And as you said, as a child, I like to paint a lot. I got these 6 frames that I got for really cheap on Amazon, and I got back to painting because I had to fill those frames. And that was the reason. So when I started painting, I realized that I forgot everything around me. Forgot what is happening. I forgot to eat. I forgot. I didn't care who is listening. What noises are going on the street. Completely engrossed. So when you said that you should go back to your hobby, I realized that I did it after a lot of years when I was sitting and actually engrossed in painting. But it gave me a lot of joy. And now that
Joy.
Said that you should do it once a week and find time to do so. Maybe I'll change the paintings every week.
Yeah.
Good
You know
paint.
what I've experienced after, like, I have had quite a few menopausal females, or you can say probably the uncles also in the age of like 40s and 50s.
Huh.
They always tackle the sleep issues because of hormonal imbalances and also because of some stresses of life that they all have.
Right.
So, because all of these people in 40s and 50s have pubertal kids who are in their adolescence, and like,
Correct.
hormones are hitting them. So both are at the peaks of their life. One is declining and one is just rising up every day. And
Yes.
then it's a big mess in the house. Always. This combination is bad, but it's there in every house. So these like 40s, 50s guys, they always face a lot of issues with the sleep. Like, especially, like, you must be also seeing your mom sometime not sleeping well. So the moment they go back to their hobbies, even once or twice in a like week, the sleep improves immediately. Like, because that was what they used to enjoy. And now in the entire, raising the family and, being the family, they've just forgotten all their lives in a way.
Correct.
So yeah, your lifestyle changes, we have covered 4 of them. Yeah. And the food is the 5th one that everybody wants to know or must be curious about. So in food, the basic first thing comes is water. We
Water.
are unaware completely of the fact that how much water we drink every day. So at least an average human being should have like 12 to 14 glasses of water every day, irrespective of the season and whatever, like
12 to
wherever
14.
you are.
It was 8 to 10.
It is like approximately 12 to 14 glasses a day.
Okay.
And considering your one glass is around 200 ml, like 200 to 250 ml approximately. Unnecessary, like, this is an exception to people who have kidney problems or
Okay.
who have been put on certain medications to control their water intake. So those are obviously exempted from this example.
Okay.
But everybody else definitely should have like at least 12 to 14 glasses of water. So because half the times you're not hungry and you're thirsty and you don't understand it and you go and eat. That happens many a times. So yeah. So whoever, like these young kids who come to me, I always tell them, whenever you're hungry, you will go and have a glass of water first. You'll wait for 10 minutes and then you will go back to food if you're still hungry.
You sound exactly like my
So-
mom right now, because she also tells me, "Khana wana nahi milega, jaake pani piyo."
Yeah, but as an adult, we also have to do the same thing. So next time, like, unnecessarily, if you're hungry sometimes, just go back to a glass of water, stay there for like 10 minutes, and you have food. Like, we all have food in our house. We are not short of food.
Correct.
So no need to go here and there, search out, go dig out the fridge, dig out the big cupboards, like whatever, what is kept where. It is not going to be like that. So yeah, that is one thing. And secondly, eating out has a lot of impact on your body. It has almost become an addiction for all of us. We
Yes.
are addicted to certain foods. Like, I have seen kids or maybe even people of my age and even elder to me, sometimes they have particular dishes, cravings for particular restaurants. So it has become that particular, that I want this pizza from this store. I want this rice from this restaurant. I want this burger from this restaurant. I want this dosa from this place. So
Yes.
it has become place specific. And there is something called as MSG, which every restaurant uses in every food that they make. No matter how authentic the restaurant is and no matter how organic the flow looks like. Yeah. So if you have any friends in the restaurant industry, just ask them how the dosa becomes that better and how my mom cannot make that same dosa.
Correct.
If it's that organic, your mom should be making the same dosa. So one day ask your mom to put MSG instead of normal salt, and the dosa will be exactly same as the restaurant.
Oh, so it's like an addictive thing. It's more
Yes.
like
So even in dosas and idlis and upmas and pohas that you eat in the restaurant, they all have MSG at the end of the day. So MSG is nothing but the monosodium glutamate, also called as Ajinomoto. We know that Ajinomoto is bad, but MSG has 20 different names. I'm going to write a short post on MSG in maybe coming few days.
Okay.
So I will be writing vegetable protein, then vegetable gum. These are also the names for MSG or Ajinomoto, which is there in all your biscuits, all your packet food, everything.
Oh my God.
So it starts from, yeah, exactly. So you should be reading the label out well, because all these are just the names for MSG in the food that you're going to eat. Vegetable protein is nothing but MSG, because monosodium glutamate is nothing but a protein molecule at the end of the day. It is glutamate. It has a complex, it has same structure as a protein molecule. So at the end of the day, it is going to be nothing but Ajinomoto in everything that you eat from outside.
So you think that I cannot eat junk at all? Or
see, it is not like you not having junk at all. But how oftenly you had junk while you were a kid?
As a kid, I did. But I think when I reach adulthood, the moment you start earning is the moment when you go out and yes. So and
exactly.
That was,
see, I get it. You having like one meal outside, or maybe one dinner, one lunch, one whole probably day outside once in like 2 to 3 weeks once. But I guess that should be reasonable enough. Like not more than that. I don't think you should be going. And then you have option of making things at home always.
Okay.
So if that is possible, it is ideally advisable to do that. Secondly, see, there are times when you have to go out and when you have to eat. There is no option for you to do that. In that case, it is fine. I mean, you are also helpless if you are staying outside and you have no cooking access. On that note, it is fine. But otherwise, if you are not put in that situation, I would not suggest that you do that. See, having junk probably once in a week is fine, or like if you're going to have a full whole meal throughout the day outside, then maybe one day in like 15 to 20 days should be enough. And then we know that somebody has a party and somebody has this, so you can plan accordingly, I guess. Like we do plan our finances, right? If we have certain things or certain commitments to go for, we do plan our finances well. So I guess this should also be the planning moreover, rather than doing all of it. So I always tell the wives that, nowadays now everybody is at home. So I always tell, give your kids vegetables to clean. They will do it and they will enjoy it more. Make your kids work at home.
Correct.
Because that's what you're supposed to do. What if your kid walks out in the 11th standard, 12th standard, they go out and stay and they even don't know how to buy a vegetable.
Correct.
So make your kids do that. Don't take everything on your head. It is not going to help you. Let them do it. Let them do the vegetables. Let them decide the vegetables for the week. They have all of it. And right now the syllabus is really good as far as the education is concerned. Like they know more about farming and all of that we were not so aware of in our times. At least I wasn't aware of so much. So
no.
Involve a family in certain things, planning all of such things, so that when kids plan it for themselves, they're not going to complain to you that why you made it. That's the easiest part of it.
Exactly.
That they only planned. You can always go back. So yeah, while I help kids out, I always do that. I tell them to plan the menu. I said, you plan the menu. So nobody's going to be responsible for it.
That's smart. This I'm going to use. I think my mom did not know this. That is why she had so much trouble with us. Like, nahi, hum ye nahi khayenge. I'm going to do it.
I say to every kid who says हम ये नहीं खाएंगे, उसके हाथ में आप grocery list दो और उसको बोलो now you plan. Or these are like 15 options. You tell me Monday को ये बनेगा and then you have chosen. So I am not responsible for this.
Yes, you want
to have invited the trouble.
So Saili, moving on to the next question. Do you support the whole idea of losing 30 kgs in 3 days? 1 second, I think there was...
If I would have done that. I would have been the first person in the queue to get that service done on myself.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because
this could be done only if you're undergoing liposuction. This is possible. No, because people are going to go inside you and take things out.
and it comes back again, of course. So when you go on Google, and that is the first thing, that is our first go to when we want to lose weight, and we want to lose weight fast. We don't realize that we took a lot of effort to put on this weight, and
Exactly.
going away so fast. So the first thing is like, I want to lose 30 kgs in 3 months because I have to fit into something, or I have a party, or I have to look good for a certain day.
Yeah.
So, what is your say on these modern diets that keep on showing up on our phones and on the internet?
Okay. So my only, like, my only question to all of the people who ask me about such things is, did you gain all of it in 3 months, or like whatever time you want to lose out in, did you gain all of it in like that time?
No, I took 3 years, proper 3 years I took to gain this.
Okay. So this is the first thing. First of all, if your body, see, it is not about, there's a process of how you put on weight.
Huh.
There is one fine day when your body is spending out less energy and you're eating more than that. Whatever it is, whatever the reason might be, you're metabolically affected, or your hormones are bad, or maybe you have had a bad patch in life, and that is how your appetite has gone wrong. Whatever it is, n number of reasons it might have. But then there was one fine moment when this process started in your body, and then whatever was surplus, like whatever was more than necessary in your body, started getting stored in your fat cells as fat, as a form of fat.
Okay.
So, and it is a big long time process. Like it is not going to happen overnight, that today you ate some food, tomorrow you weighed yourself, you are 1 kg higher. That is fine, but that is water retention in the body. So that is nothing but whenever you eat carbohydrates, your body is going to, like, hold on to some water, because it has sodium in it. It is going to hold little bit of water in the body. So that water retention will go off after 2-3 days. It will just go off like that. And you say, no, I've lost 1 kg now. That 1 kg doesn't stay forever. Yeah, maybe few 30-40 grams out of it might stay forever with you. But not the entire 1 kg is going to be part of your life anymore. So it is a process by which all of it happens. So when you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose it accordingly. The way it happened, it is going to go back the same way it is going to go.
Okay.
So there is no other way around to all of it. And see, any shortcuts in life, then there are people who buy lotteries. And then there are people who do trading.
Yes.
But then there are people who do trading with different intentions. Like some people want to, just go and finish it off. Some people want to treat it the other way around as an investment. In the long term, they look up to it. So it is a different story for both of them. And both of them get different results. So it is equivalent to diet and exercise as well. That you overdo, it will have its own consequences. You underdo, it will have its own consequences. And if you do it in the moderation, everything is good. And my more point is, whoever you're following, whichever nutritionist you go to, or whichever YouTube channel you're following, you do whatever is justified in your head. Okay, if you feel comfortable doing that 30-day, whatever 3 months thing, you can do it. But my only question is, what will happen after when you're going to go back to your routine?
Right.
Like, will you be ever able to maintain whatever you have done for all these 3 months? Because every effort that you're going to, go ahead.
No, of course not. As you said, when you're saying that these fat diets, I won't be able to eat the same thing forever.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if people have that kind of stamina. I myself, it's my personal opinion, I will not be able to do it forever.
Yeah, exactly. So that is one point, because whenever you are going on particular crash diet, or say whatever you are saying, that 3 months 30 kgs fat, whatever it is, so if you go on that particular diet, you are making your body go through a certain process.
Right.
So during that process, your body is going to lose something out. And then if you're going to not maintain it, this is what happens on crash diets. Like if you're going to go on a lot of low calorie diets, you will lose weight in faster period. But then if you're going to eat more, your body is going to put on so much later that next time whenever you plan to go on any diet, your body will know that okay, this person does this, so it will not lose out on that. Your body is way more smarter than we are. It is as good as the immunity that we develop. That for one go, the first time you had fear
Exactly.
about something in life, you faced the fear and you came out. There was a fear, fight, flight response that happened. And you came out of that fear. Now, second time, if somebody tries to scare you that way, you're not scared.
Of course.
You make the person fool that, oh, what is this? That's what happens when you try to lose weight. So if you constantly go on these diets and then you go back on that, hogging and literally starving phases of your life, they are going to be, detrimental to your health. Because then your body reaches out a stage where it is not going to easily give out. Even if you go on a structured diet, it is not going to give out easily. So before you do anything, you think twice that whether I will be able to sustain this later as well. If you can sustain with that, you're really good to go with it. Like, I don't have nothing like that. Like, it is the best thing for you. If you can really sustain that. At least if you can sustain that diet for, you can say 25 days a month, you're good to go. Like, I would say 1 day a week is fine. So at least 6 to 7 days a week, if you're following that particular diet and you're able to follow that all your life, you're extremely happy. Like, I will be the happiest person if you can do that.
But then,
Yeah, exactly.
what factors do you then keep in mind while providing a diet chart to anyone?
Okay. See, now I'm here. Now I'm far away from people. I can't even meet them. Like, while I was in India, at least I had an option of seeing them myself sometimes and,
Correct.
meeting them. But now I even don't have that option. So whenever I'm planning diet for anybody, no matter who it is, I should know that person first of all.
Okay.
Like, how is that person in general in life? It starts from his schedule, like what is he doing in life? How has he been throughout his childhood? Like, history makes a lot of difference to me. Because it has a lot of coherence with all of it.
Okay.
Like, if a girl is putting on weight since a long time as a child, she definitely has something going on wrong around her menstruation since the moment she has had chumps for the first time. So it all starts from there. Yeah, exactly. And you will be surprised to know that I have had young girls who are like 16 and have never had regular periods since the time they've started it. So it's very sad to know, but yeah, it is a story right now. So these kids do have their own pressures going on, and that do affect their hormonal health as well. So whatever we face probably now at the age of 27, 28, these girls are facing at the age of like 13, 14 in a very different way, but they do. They have peer pressure. We were never, expected to look good in our schools. Like, but they are in a way. Like, in a way that it pressurizes them. It wasn't the case with us, I guess.
That is true.
So that was a different story altogether, yeah.
No, pictures are profile pictures from my childhood. I don't want to see them ever again.
So exactly. They resemble Aadhaar card somewhere.
Worse than that. Okay.
Different story. Yeah. So I consider the history basically, no matter how old you are. I'm interested in your history as a medical diseases, if you have ever had family tendencies, like any diseases that typically run in the family, because then you're prone towards it and you show certain previous signs of it. Like, a girl facing PCOD should be having parents having diabetes in the family.
Okay.
Like, somewhere it has to be there.
Somewhere
because
in the lineage.
Somewhere in the lineage it has to be there, and you always get it. Like, at least 80% of the times you get it in the history somewhere. Or she will always have uncles and aunties having thyroid issues, diabetes, whatever it is, like anything that is going around. So I consider the history is very important. Then I should know any allergies typically if the person has. Then his general reactions towards certain foods, like what he can digest, what he cannot. certain. Then I also consider all your physical complaints, if you have any, like your particularly any physical complaints, if you have something like related to digestion, like acidity, bloating, whatever it is. So
Okay.
I consider all of it.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the day, your current measurements, like how you are, I always ask for photos
Hmm.
because they help me a lot in understanding your fat distribution and all of it.
Okay.
And then also, maybe if you are in certain like medications already,
Hmm.
I will definitely ask, like, see, because if you're on a lot of regular medications, they always have some depletary effect on the minerals and the vitamins in your body.
Correct.
Like, if you are on a regular prescription, it is always going to be like that. Your
Hmm.
family doctor is very willing to know all of it, but he definitely doesn't have time to do all of it. So if you come to me, it's my duty to do that, because if I'm going to suggest you nutrition, vitamins and minerals is a very, very, very vital thing at the end of the day that I should be looking into. So after I talk to my clients over the first history call, I always, if I see any signs and symptoms, I will always ask them to, go for certain vitamin levels, some vitamin profiles to be done.
Okay.
And if you are deficient enough, as I'm distant here, I don't suggest you what vitamins you're supposed to take, but then I will always ask you to see your doctor.
Hmm.
And I always try to send them a basic prescription that I want.
Okay.
And then I will always ask them to discuss it with their family doctors and get it sorted, because that is very crucial. What vitamins do is very crucial. We don't even understand it, but then it has a lot of, now because of the COVID, this vitamin D has come up suddenly. Vitamin C has got like extreme importance, that we're out of stock everywhere. But then
True.
if we would have been taking it regularly, I guess this time should have been easier for all of us.
Yes, I think the only problem is that traditionally we used to do all this, but then somewhere we lost the entire track, and now we've moved on to different things, and because of
And
that,
yeah, there was a big time
yeah.
difference in the generation, I feel, because my parents' generation always thought that we get everything from the food.
Hmm.
They are right, but
Yes.
only till their childhood. Like, the moment our parents went into their 20s and 30s, the food quality started getting degraded like anything. Like, the
Yes.
milk that we used to get for protein, it has protein, but along with the protein, it has a lot of other things that you're not supposed to have.
Correct.
So basically, the food nowadays that we have, the air pollution is one different thing that, depletes a lot of vitamins and minerals from our body. The air that we pollute
Hmm.
and the air that we breathe in has a lot of depletary effect on the other nutrients in the body that we have. And also at the same time, the pollution in the food is that bad that, along with certain good things, we are getting a lot of bad things.
I know.
So right now it is the time that all of us are deficient in some or the other things, and it is better to, go back to nutraceuticals, take their help, get it in, and take it, like, finish the topic then and there, rather than the nutrition deficiency going so bad in somebody where it, starts, like, as an example, I can tell you vitamin D levels will always go hand in hand with the hormonal imbalance in this young girls or anybody who is like facing hormonal imbalance. Yeah, because somewhere it is all going to depend on the fat metabolism on your body.
But we are
And
not getting
hormones,
enough vitamin D, honestly, since we've been cooped inside, and
yeah,
secondly, now even if you see buildings now, the way they are designed, everything is
yeah, yeah,
closed. Everything
yeah,
is
you're an
within
architect, so
HVAC at a
you
certain
should, yeah,
temperature, and
yeah,
I feel we are getting pasteurized day by day. You go outside, you're in hot sun, and suddenly you're put inside AC.
exactly.
So, as you said, vitamin D is something that I think even I might be lacking because I have not gone out as much in the past 7 months because of the lockdown. Otherwise, I used to go out
And
for a
there
walk.
is a no, even if you go out, the
Hmm.
problem comes up with the amount of cosmetics that we use. So
Okay.
we all are using body lotions or some or the other thing before we go out. Like, barely bare body we go out.
Okay. I'm not
So
one
we
of
are just
them, but
blocking all of it. maximum times we are just blocking the cells,
Yes.
and it is going to not help us get the vitamin D. And also at the end of the day, I don't know, it is not the doctors that are at fault, but it is somehow the school of thought that is in the problem right now. Is even if you do your vitamin levels, the range is so varied that 30 to 100 is normal, but then is 36 sufficient? No.
No.
The
It is the
answer
lower
is, looking at a person, you should be deciding that if you have certain issues with your bones and pains and aches that are going on, and then if you are not hormonally stable, that 36 is not going to make any sense. You should be having at least 70 to 80 reading of your vitamin D levels, while the range says 30 to 100. But what, for whom the 30 is fine and for whom the 90 is okay, is a different story. That is subjective.
But
And
then,
that is a problem, I guess.
but then when you mentioned that we pack
Sorry.
ourselves and we put a lot of lotion and everything, but that is also
Yeah.
because the sun is pretty harsh. I think vitamin D is something
Exactly.
4-9,
Exactly.
but then
Yeah.
even I personally get sunburns. So after that, I started wearing these coats and scarves and everything.
And the basic thing is, we need, like every human being generally who is not much active, like basic activity level, will require somewhere around 1,500 units every day for vitamin D.
Okay.
And for that much to get, we should be in like sunlight for like at least 4 hours, which none of us are. Like, frankly speaking, none of us are.
No, I'm just
And
gonna sit outside now. I
yeah.
think I should conduct all the
And
podcasts
even if
outside.
you yeah, but still we will be deficient, because along with the like vitamin D, there are certain heavy chemicals that we face in the air, like some heavy metals and all of that. So it is all intermingled. And also, one more thing, why are we facing a lot of vitamin D deficiencies? At the end of the day, it is a fat soluble vitamin. It is ADEK. We have learned all of this in the school, that it is a fat soluble vitamin. So
Okay.
for its absorption in the body, you should have good fat levels also, or the good fat consumption that you're supposed to do. So all these refined oils and all of this cheese, it is not going to help you at the end of the day.
Okay.
So all your basic cold pressed oils will help you to retain all of these vitamin D that you absorb generally, or also you may be taking a supplement, whatever it is. So the absorption of it requires some good quality fat in the body. If that is not going to be there, it is not going to be absorbed, even if you gulp in a lot of
Vitamin
supplements.
D. Yeah. So it's all interrelated. In short, everything has.
It's all interrelated. Yeah.
Okay.
And then see, also, like sitting and gulping all of these vitamin supplements and doing nothing, like sitting only on the couch entire day, is also not going to help you. So you have to have some activity throughout the day. I tell my clients, very basic is, if you can't do anything, just start walking in the house randomly. Just start walking in the house and count the number of steps. If that gives you motivation, counting the number of steps at the end of the day, count the number of steps. It's fine to do that, but then at least do it if that is possible. So somewhere it is all interlinked.
Yes. This one more question that people keep putting across, that should we stop consuming sugar altogether, and is jaggery a good solution or option for it?
Okay. So see, ultimately your honey, sugar, and your palm sugar, coconut sugar, then what else is coming up these days?
Some
And
sweetener,
what did you ask me?
that
Yeah.
some sweetener is also.
Sweetener is a different thing altogether. I'll tell you what sweetener is.
Uh-huh.
So these all different options, your jaggery, honey, and all of it. See, why people say sugar is bad? Because it has a lot of sulfate while the process of refining happens. So see, the more raw it is, the more better it is.
Okay.
So that's how
just
people say
grow
jaggery is
sugarcane.
better than sugar. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But then there are two varieties of jaggery that you get. One is the normal jaggery that you will find, that is processed. The other one has a little percentage of molasses in it, so it will help you having some good bacteria. So that will be the organic jaggery that you're talking about. But ultimately, it is sucrose at the end of the day. Fructose, sucrose, glucose, and galactose are the only forms of sugar when they break out in your body, and all of them give you equal number of calories. So all of them give you the equal number of insulin spikes in the body. So the only problem is the refined form of version you have, more chemicals you get. So more sulfur you have, more sulfates you will find.
Okay.
So which one is better? Anyone that you can afford is better, I would always say. Because buying raw honey should not be convenient for all of us as far as affordability is concerned. Buying jaggery should be fine, I guess, for all of us, because that is equivalent in rates with the sugar. And date sugar, palm sugar, and all of that is fine. If you can afford it, it is good, because all of them will have their own health benefits as far as giving you certain nutrition is concerned. But sugar will be sugar at the end of the day, no matter what you use.
So
as far as sweetener is concerned, yeah, exactly. As far as sweetener is concerned, what is sweetener? Basically, a form of sucrose you will find in certain plants that is like 1,000 times more sweet than your normal sugar.
Okay.
Like normal sucrose. Some modification has happened naturally in its own. So you will find all of it. It is 1,000 to 10,000 times more stronger in taste. So just imagine you having 2 spoons of sugar. So whatever number of particles it will have, divided by 10,000 when your sweetener will have.
Okay.
So immediately the number of calories go down. So that's why people say why sweeteners are good, because the sweetener equivalent amount, like weight to volume ratio, if you consider, it will be so less that it will have somewhere around 0.6 calories and all, something like that. That is not even countable sometimes. So they write 0 calorie. Ideally, it doesn't have 0. It has some half calorie or something like that. But then it is absolutely not counted. Because ideally, according to labeling law, if a calorie count goes below 1 calorie, you are not supposed to count it.
Okay.
So that way it goes like that. So that is a sweetener. Sweetener is nothing but some naturally occurring thing or chemically made. Now, erythritol is something which is chemically made. Stevia is naturally found. Then your sucralose, sometimes it will be chemically made, sometimes you might find it naturally. So it depends on the brand that you're going to buy. Also depends on the expenses that you spend. Like the natural derivatives might be little expensive. Chemical ones would be obviously more cheaper. But I would always say, if you're on the boundary and if you're on the verge of having diabetes on a very different level, and if that is affecting your entire body in some or the other way, I would suggest you go for sugar freeze for a certain time. If you cannot curb if you cannot cut down the sugar immediately, you can take help of them, but don't rely completely on them. Like take their help for some time and then slowly start just moving them away.
Okay. Sairi, what is your take on alcohol consumption? Most of my friends ask this question. I had to ask it.
Oh God. See, it is bad. Obviously, I should support my profession and say that it is bad.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it is bad, but then you should have your own preferences. Given a chance, if you're just going to drink it for the sake of you enjoying it, is fine, probably once a month. But then don't make it more than that, probably once in 3 weeks max, like 20 days, 15 to 20 days max. Not more than that. And it depends on what all you drink. And if you're just drinking it out of the stress, then I would not suggest you to do that, because that's not advisable. It is, if it is just happening organically, sometimes over some party at a place or something like that, around it, I feel it should be fine and it should be okay and subtle in that way, but not more than your basic limits. Like it will vary from person to person. But ideally, if it is inevitable, then it should be once in 3 weeks, not more than that, definitely. And not with sugary drinks for sure.
Okay.
Like, if possible, try avoiding having alcohol with sugary drinks, something like Coke and Sprite,
Right.
or maybe cocktails are going to be a bad thing for you. But yeah, that
Okay.
that's what my take is all on alcohol. And it also depends on your liver function test. If your liver functions are bad, then even that once in month is not going to be a good deal for you. Your liver is already crying out. So it depends. It is
Oh,
completely subjective, I would say, person to person.
so then have
My
everything
Hindi is
in
bad.
moderation would be the right point.
Yeah, it's like if you want to enjoy it, okay, fine. You can have it once in a month. I feel that should be enough.
Well, slightly moving towards your team. How big is your team and what are their roles?
Currently, it's only me
Yes.
and yeah,
Managing
and
everything
a
one
friend
man
of
show.
mine. What?
You're
Yeah,
managing
one man show. Exactly, one man show. And like since couple of months, I have a friend of mine,
everything.
and she helps me out doing my social media. Like not exactly marketing. I don't do marketing at all.
Uh-huh.
So she helps me whatever content I want to put on the social media nowadays. She just helps me editing it
Hmm.
and maybe putting on appropriate pictures or something like that. So she just helps out. And now because I'm here in Canada and she's in India,
Hmm.
she can really handle the Instagram inquiries and all of that. What happens? Like sometimes if there are any, because of the time difference, she does that for me.
Okay. So
So that's it. That's the team.
that's the team. And how did you start? How did you get your first client?
Oh,
How did you build your client base?
ah,
You said that you
that is
got
so
everything
funny.
organically without marketing. So that is the story I
Yeah,
want.
I have got. Yeah, exactly. So while I was studying nutrition back in Pune, I
Huh.
used to stay with two of my roommates,
Okay.
and one of them happened to be pretty younger to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like 5 years younger to me, and she was in that complete teenage zone,
Okay.
and she was studying back then.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew, and her friends used to always come to our house, and we used to have some dinner parties and all of that, like basic. Because we were elder and they were younger, so we used to cook and they used to come home. So that's what we did all our life. And her friends used to stay in the hostel, so our house used to be like late night thing for them. So they used to
Right.
come, and they knew that I'm studying, and they felt maybe I'm losing weight because I'm implementing things on me.
Acha.
So they were just behind me, and they came one day home that we are here today. Even I had not completed my certification back then.
Mm-hmm.
They had come home that we are here and you have to give us diet. So I remember I had charged them some 100 or 150 bucks just for the sake of charging something, because they were like, no, you have to take something from us. I also remember I had taken 50 from somebody, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, and they were like, no, you have to give us that. And they followed it. Like they really did it. And
Uh-huh.
one of them was my first client, which I, with PCOD, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she was my first client, and she did it so well that her mom had called me and said, I don't know what you have done, but she has started getting her periods regularly and her face had gone really nice and all of that. So yeah, I remember that was my first PCOD case ever. Like I never had gone anywhere. They just came home. They were sitting on my head, you give us that.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I started.
Okay.
So this is how I started, and
And
after
that's
that it
how
just
did you
went
build
into,
from there? How did you keep
oh
finding?
god, my friends have helped me a lot throughout this. Like my friend in Pune, she happens to be Iha, so she literally sent me her brother, then her few friends, like, okay, she's my friend and she's doing really good, you should see her, that kind of thing. So it
Right.
just started eventually. Like I used to stay in with a flat of like 1 bedroom hall kitchen, and I remember I had a study table and only one chair at that time. So
Okay.
whoever used to come for consultation, I used to borrow like 2 chairs from my neighbor. Whenever
Okay.
I used to have consultation, I used to literally borrow chairs from that auntie and just to
Uh,
give me chairs.
okay.
And that's how I did my initial first 3-4 months. So because people used to come home, like I had no place. And probably 3-4 years back, online consultation wasn't such a cool thing that it is right now. Like
Yes.
probably now when I tell people online, they're like, okay, fine, because that's how it works. Now, though, it is after after COVID, it has become like one normal thing now. Now,
Correct.
if I ask somebody to come and see me, they'll be like, "Huh, why? We'll do it online." So it will be another situation. But that time it was a different world altogether, like 4 years back. So I used to do it at home. So I remember I had bought my chairs for myself after like 6 months of my practice. Till then, that auntie started keeping those 2 chairs at my house only. Then she used to take it when she needed it. So it was that bad. And my friends have always sent me like clients, and then they sent me more clients. So I was very lucky to have people that have stayed with me. Like even I am sometimes in touch with my client who was like 4 years old client of mine.
Oh,
So in a way I feel very blessed that way, and I'm really blessed that way. I mean, because I feel uh, I liked what I was doing, and maybe this made me happy that some uncle or some auntie was made easier with their thyroid tablets, or like their doctors were so happy to cut down their medications. And it made me happy, like, because I wasn't giving them any medicine and they were eating the food at their own houses, and they were happy at the end of the day. I've always had all of this 40s and 50s wale uncle aunties who have helped me build my business. Literally.
don't
Like,
worry.
they have
There are
told
actually
me.
a few more in line from my end also. They're just waiting when you are getting all set up, because they've heard a lot about you and they're like, okay, when is she free? Can you just tell me when she's free? I'm like, I don't know. When she comes on the
Oh
podcast.
God. And I don't take clients if I'm not free. Like, this is what like, people talk about this, but then I don't feel justified. So I sometimes don't take clients, because I feel if I take money from somebody, I should have that enough time to give it. Otherwise, I won't. Like, I have not taken you on. So it's been
I
a
know.
long
I'm
time.
also waiting in line. Waiting list pe hum log. Reservation.
But then I
Reservation
don't
pe
feel
baithe.
good if I'm not giving you that much time.
I agree. I've been waiting for the past 2 months, by the way. So if you're planning to get in touch with her, you have to start right now.
Yeah. So now the podcast, and you can start doing few things on your own for now, for sure.
Yeah. I will. Anyway, I'm sleeping on time and waking up on time. The
So
one thing that
everybody
I
who
have.
comes to me after the podcast, I am always going to ask them whether they have done all of it. Then only I will take you guys. That is going to make my job so easier now. Oh wow, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, she's already given basic tips. So you have to breathe first. Like before going to her, only breathe 10 times and go.
Yeah.
Abdi.
No, so you should start doing all of this at least for 2 weeks. Now I should keep a cap. Good thing that I've done it. It's nice. I I can literally tell people, go to the podcast, listen to these 5
Yes.
things. If you're not doing it, don't come to me. Come to me after you do it for 3
Oh
weeks,
my
and you will
God.
feel difference on your own. Yeah,
I got
it's a
free
good
marketing.
thing. Yeah. Yeah, actually, good. You give me that 5 minutes video clip of like only that
Yes.
part.
I just have
Tell the
that
people
clip.
to do it first,
Huh.
and then we'll talk about your diet.
Done. I'll add this clip somewhere so that people can just go. You can please look at this clip, and then come back.
Yeah, you have to.
I will. Saili, so what is the one
Uh,
thing you love about what you do? Apart from
uh, yeah, that I like talking to people. One thing that I love about what I do is I get to learn a lot of things.
right.
And I get to empathize with so many people
Hmm.
that, frankly speaking, nothing in my life seems challenging to me now.
So sweet.
Yeah, because I'm just 27 and I have heard like more than 300 people till now. And yeah, it literally, makes me so strong at certain points that no matter what challenge I see, and also it gives me strength to talk to other people that no matter what challenges they have, I have seen worst. Like, I have seen worst happening with somebody else, and that person has already come up from it. So I don't feel any of my problem is going to be larger in any of that context henceforth. So that has always given me motivation to, somehow everything is going to be fine, and everything can be dealt with.
That
That
reflects on the way
confidence I've
you speak
always got.
also. That reflects on the way you speak. Honestly, if you hadn't told me you're 27, I wouldn't have believed you. I think maybe she's
Okay.
trying. Women never tell their real age. So yeah. So what is one advice you would like to give somebody, who wants to pursue this as a career option?
It is very interesting career, to be very frank. You will never be bored because every day is a new day, and every day you will have a lot of new people coming with new challenges. And maybe you have seen one challenge 100 times, but it will be different every second time it is going to come up and show you.
Okay. You
So
will
yeah,
never
it
be
is very
bored.
interesting. First of all, you will never be bored. But then, unless you're passionate about this, don't really get into all of it, because if you're going to try to fit in everybody in one, one measuring scale, they are not going to be there. So every person demands their own different scale. And secondly, no matter how easygoing this profession looks, you have to study. Like, you have to literally take up the books and study. There is no other way around. I mean, there is no easy escape to it. And even if it looks that there is an easy escape, because now, even in the lockdown period, there were many academies that come up. They had their online courses and, become a nutritionist in 5 days, 4 days, whatever thingy. It You can have a basic knowledge of it, but then at the end of the day, if you see anybody, Amrita, around me, I don't see any person who doesn't have any physical associations of their weight.
Correct.
So it is very difficult to find somebody who doesn't have anything, only weight is on higher side, perfect. Then only I will treat you, because that attitude you cannot really keep it in your mind. I understand that you can be somebody who is not from the medical background. I get it. It is fine to pursue this as a career, but then be open to the terms. Be open to learn it. Maybe you can have some good friends around, some good mentors to follow, some good books to read.
Yeah.
So they are there to help you, and then you should be always in the journey. You should be ready to always learn and monetize. Like, if you have monetary things on your mind, maybe this is not the profession for you, because if you keep money as a first thing, you will definitely fall short of some things in life, like in near future. Maybe probably for a year or two you will definitely grow, but then what I feel now is, if because see, I don't do marketing as such. I've never done it till today, and I would not want to do it. But then today, if I get a client from somebody who was my client 5 years, 4 years back, I mean, that's what I want in life.
Yeah.
So if you want that to happen, it should always be the best of you. And I have always had clients that I wasn't able to help. But then, as a person, what I did was I always stopped charging them after a point, because that's what I could do. While I was learning and I was trying to help them out, I stopped charging them, because why would they stay with me otherwise? There are 100 other people outside that they can go to. And
Correct.
still, if they wish to stick with you, you should be loyal to them. That is what remains in your hand at the end of the day. So anybody who wants to pursue is choose a right course for yourself. Choose a right path for yourself. Like, study is the only option. No matter how, starry and how glossy this profession looks, it is not that easy. Because everybody feels it's nice.
Yeah.
You
Everything.
can be a nutritionist over the roof and you will be all fine. But
Everything
it
is
is not
difficult,
that
I
thing.
guess. Put in the effort that is necessary, and I think building
Yeah,
lasting
and you should
connections is
consider
important.
the person like as a whole completely, because every person is different. Every person is different, trust me. It doesn't work.
True, agreed.
So yeah,
So,
be ready to do hard work. That's
yes,
what I can tell somebody who wants to pursue the career. But yeah,
I
it's not boring, definitely.
I can make that out because you are talking to a lot of people. Everything is an experiment, and and you have lasting connections which you keep on talking about. 2-3 years. I mean, people who have been with you for 2 to 3 years is like that means that they trust what you do.
Yeah,
So
and even if they finish their processes, they're still in contact with me some or the other way. So that makes me even more richer at the end of the day, I feel. Right.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
Siley, since you're in a continuous process of unsettling and learning new things about people, what's your definition of settling?
I guess unsettling itself is a settling for me. Because a couple of months back, I've moved from like a continent altogether.
Yes, she did.
So, yeah. So, in a way, it's like trying to be comfortable, but then that never happens with me. Like, the moment I'm comfortable with something, something new comes up. That's what it like. No plan has worked for me for now. So, I've stopped planning and I
Okay.
only like work every day. I try to work my day best. That's what I feel is settling down. Like right now for me it is like, justifying my entire day schedule and
Uh-huh.
like, trying to stabilize all my cases. That's what I mean, I would want to settle and have a formula that I can apply every day, but that doesn't happen. I would be happiest to do that, but then yeah, settling for me is like, you are in your own mental comfort and mental peace, I would say,
Mhm.
where even if your work is stress, it shouldn't be a stress for you. For me, that is the case. Like even if I have a lot of work, it is not a stress for me. I like it's now, see, it's 12 in the night and my
Yes.
N2 level is still the same. So this is what happens generally with clients as well. Like you've spoken to me quite a few times now, so you know already.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well,
that's
Saili,
one.
I think I will not take much of your time since we have almost spoken till the next day.
Yes.
Midnight, and now it's almost next day for you. So thank you,
Yeah.
Saili. Thank you for sharing so much information and talking about
Yeah.
lifestyle changes that we can implement. Everybody can implement. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that, I hope you keep on getting more clients, and I hope you have more time than that so that you can talk
Yeah.
to each one of them. that is
Yeah.
that is my only hope. Thank you so much for sharing this about your
Yeah.
journey and about all this. Thank you, Saili. Thank you for coming on the.
Welcome.
And Saili, how can people get in touch with you if they want to? Is there a page or a
Okay,
website?
so you can, yeah. Right now, my website is under construction
Okay.
and my Instagram page is on.
Okay.
So you can just drop in your message there or maybe on Facebook Messenger as well. So wherever
Okay.
you want is fine.
Done. So I will be adding the links in the description, and anybody who wants to get in
Yeah,
touch with her, you can definitely do so.
sure.
She will, whenever she
Yes.
has the time, she will get back to you.
Yeah, Instagram, somebody will definitely reply you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Taking in the like personal contact will might take some days off, but
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
I
will
know.
get a reply.
Whoever is
You
there
will
will
get a
get in touch
reply.
with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay, Saili, thank
Good
you so much
day.
for this.
It was really nice coming on your podcast. This is my first podcast ever.
It
So
didn't
yeah,
seem
it's
that
a
way, by
new
the way. But okay, I believe you.
Okay, that's nice.
Hello, people. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this episode and you like unsettling, all you have to do is give me a feedback. And for that, please visit my Instagram page, that is Amrita Sukumar _unsettling. And well, you can send me a DM or you can send me a mail. All the details are there on that page. I would love for you to just tell me how you feel. Yeah. And you. And if you would like to share your stories, you have to let me know because I would love to listen to them. Till then, stay tuned to Unsettling. Like, share, subscribe, follow, let your friends know, and stay safe. Yeah? Bye.